So I would like to acknowledge the traditional land of the Coast Salish people. We acknowledge the ancestral homelands of those who have walked here before us and those who still walk here, keeping in mind the integrity of this territory. We are grateful to respectively live and work as guests on these lands with the Coast Salish and native people who call this land their home. Thank you for joining us today for the live screening of Madati and Unfairy Tale. A big thank you to our COSAF sponsors and event partners for helping us put together this wonderful festival. Before we move on, I would like to remind you all that we will be taking audience questions during this Q&A. So please send your questions to our panelists at slido.com, SLIDO.com, using the event code hashtag 67620. Again, the event code is 67620. The link is also in the description of the video, so make sure to send us your questions. Without any further ado, it's my honor and privilege to introduce our moderator for this evening, renowned filmmaker and my dear friend, Tanuja Chandra. Tanuja started her career by directing the television shows Mirch Masala and Zameen Asma. After this, she co-wrote the screenplay and dialogue for Mahesh Bhatt's films Zakham and Tamanna, both of which won national awards. She also co-wrote Yash Chopra's Dil To Pagal Hai. She began independent film direction in 1998 with Dushman and has gone on to direct films such as Sangharsh, Sur, Zindagi Rocks, and the English language films Hope and A Little Sugar. In 2017, her film Kareeb Kareeb single released, a rom-com starring Irfan Khan and Parvati, and a collection of her short stories called Business Women was published by Penguin Random House. Her short film, A Monsoon Day, starring Konkana Sen Sharma, was released on Eros Now and was selected for several film festivals internationally. Most recently, her feature documentary, Auntie Sudha, Auntie Radha, premiered in an international film festival in Madrid, followed by festivals in Chicago, Seattle, Austin, Mumbai, Kerala, and has received several awards. Welcome, Tanuja.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Please take this panel forward. I will be back at the end of the conversation with the audience questions.
All right then. Hi guys, team of Madati. It is so nice to meet you guys. I'm gonna start with the director, of course. As I was telling you, Leena, before this panel began, that you owe me a few cups of coffee, because this is by far the most disturbing film and heart-wrenching film that I've seen in a long time. I'm extremely grateful you made it, because this is something that I knew only from a distance about, but I wasn't keenly aware of it, and your film brought it so close to me. I congratulate you on this film. It's beautifully made. So it's just tragic that there should be in our world a certain group of people that are unseeable. As you describe them in the movie, in the subtitles, the lowest of the lowest. It's the tragedy is immense. I would like to ask you this question: that first of all, what drew you to the story, and secondly, what do you expect that after such a disturbing feeling, what would you like ideally for the viewer to feel?
Thank you, Tanuja. Thank you, COSAF. Thank you, team, for joining me, and thanks to all the audience, who are joining from whichever part of the world. Madati, the question was why I chose the story, right?
Yes.
See, I've been listening to a lot of folklore stories from my grandmother, from my mothers in the house, and we all grew up in a culture where we worship small gods and goddesses. They're called deities. And all these small gods and goddesses are like ordinary people, like our ancestors, who had extraordinary stories. And most of these stories are the stories of injustice. And we have Karpasamy, we have Neeli, we have Mari. Like these are the deities, like who are very close to us. So when I was doing extensive research on one of my documentary feature, Rape Nation, I heard about this community. I've read about this community like through novels and other articles and other essay books. But when the one article which really haunted me was something I came across on the internet saying like this particular community, they come from the, they are in the last in the ladder of caste system, and they're completely invisibilized. They're completely undocumented. Even in Tamil Nadu, in the same society where we are born, we are grown up, most of them have never heard of this community because they're completely invisible. So, there is no history. There is nothing, no information about them. We don't know about how they live because, I mean, for years together, for decades together, for centuries, they live this slave, this slavery is still going on. Is a very, it was something, not through the text. When I went and met this community in Tirunelveli, I mean, that's a remote south of South India. That's a corner of Tamil Nadu. When I met them and when I interviewed them, like I was traveling in almost 35 villages, I thought these stories have to be told, and there should be something. Their lives have to be documented, and why I didn't do a documentary because these stories, this story about the deity, this folklore is what is keeping them going on. I mean, we don't see them in our history text, but this oral history, this this is what is still keeping their stories alive. And I just wanted to transcend that into cinema so that it reaches the world.
Yes.
These in these communities, they were perpetually displacing because of the sexual harassment done to the woman, because they were not able to keep their women safe. Such minorities, like 1 or 2 families in one whole village. So caste is a huge factor in our society, and gender violence have to go together. And the Dalit women are burdened both by caste and gender. So the constant sexual violation and the inability to protect their women, that makes the community perpetually displaced. So, all these factors and my, like almost months together, my interaction with the community, and I stayed there and I made them participate in the film. So the community participated in the creative process, in the production, and in the entire making of this film. So we as a film crew, we just acted as agency for them to tell their stories. So that's how Madati was made. And why I made this film is there is still people who say there's no caste in this society. Caste, is it actually does it exist? That's a question you constantly face. But we are all part of it, and and we are all contributing to it. We are all keeping the system alive. We are keeping the oppressive system alive, and I just wanted to raise the question: do we want this to continue?
Yes. No, and that is such an amazing and relevant question, because no one who respects respects human life in even the smallest way can actually want this to exist, can actually want this to continue. You cannot treat a human being any less than any other human being if you say that you respect human life, or even just any kind of life. So I think it's wonderful that you made this, and of course you have a wonderful team. I'll go to Semilar first, because I have to say that there's this one shot that just completely broke my heart. of Semila's, which is when the old uncle says that that it's time that that things changed for her daughter. And she had turned around to look at him. Semila, you were looking at him. You had tears in your eyes. You thought he had fallen asleep, and you just smiled. You had that heartbreaking smile, and I just felt so. I felt extremely guilty at my own privilege, and I felt really, really bad that someone that someone should have to suffer for just being born in this world. I would just like to ask you, I mean, I love when actors give shots like that. I actually feel like kissing them, I just like, what a lovely shot that was. Of course, you're beautiful throughout the film. I would like to just ask you about, what you were feeling, what your process is, how you work, and how was the experience of working in this film with Leena?
Good morning, ma'am. So can I speak with Tamil? It's more comfortable with me.
Please do. I may not understand, but maybe a lot of people will. So please do.
I can quickly translate if.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes.
So first வந்து லீனா மேம் வந்து இந்த மாடத்தி படத்துக்கு டெஸ்ட் ஷூட் கூப்பிடும்போது ஸோ நான் வந்து கன்சீவ் ஆயிட்டேன். ஸோ நான் வந்து அவங்க என்னை வந்து செலக்ட் பண்ணுவாங்களா அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு பயம் இருந்தது. ஸோ அதனால அவங்க கிட்ட நான் அதை மறைச்சிட்டேன். ஸோ செலக்ட் ஆகலைன்னா அதுக்கப்புறமா சொல்லிக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஸோ ஆஃப்டர் நான் வந்து அந்த ட்ரெஸ் எல்லாம் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறமா லீனா மணிமேகலை மேம் வந்து என்னைய அக்செப்ட் பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடியே அங்க இருக்கிற பீப்புள்ஸ் எல்லாமே வந்து என்னைய வந்து இது பர்ஃபெக்டா இருப்பாங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லி பிலீவ் பண்ணாங்க. ஸோ அது வந்து ரொம்ப ஹாப்பியா இருந்தது. தென் லீனா மேம் வந்து அந்த ப்ராசஸ் பத்தி சொல்லும் போது யூஆர் செலக்டட் அப்படின்னு ப்ராசஸ் பத்தி சொல்லும் போது தான் நான் சொன்னேன். பட் இமிடியட்லி அதனால ஒன்றும் கிடையாதுன்னு சொன்னாங்க. ஸோ 3 months 4 months அந்த ப்ராசஸ் போச்சு. சம் ஷார்ட்ஸ் வந்து லைக் கீழே விழுந்து எமோஷன் ஆகுது பிகாஸ் ஐ வாஸ் கன்சீவ் ஆல்மோஸ்ட் 2 months 3 months. தட் ரேப் சீன் வரும்போதெல்லாம் வந்து அந்த கீழே படுத்துட்டு பண்ணும்போது ஸோ அதெல்லாம் வந்து ரொம்ப சேஃபா அந்த கோ ஆர்டிஸ்டும் வந்து பண்ணாங்க. ஸோ லீனா மணிமேகலை மேம் வந்து அதுக்கான ஸ்பேஸ் கொடுத்தாங்க. ஸோ என்டையர் அந்த அந்த ஏரியா மக்கள் எல்லாருமே வந்து அதுக்காக வந்து எனக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணாங்க. ஸோ அதுதான் மாடத்தி வந்து எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு மறக்க முடியாத அனுபவம். பிகாஸ் பிரெக்னன்சியோட பண்ண ஒரு ஃபில்ம், தென் வந்து மனசை பாதிச்ச ஒரு ஸ்கிரிப்ட் அது. தென் அந்த அங்க இருக்கிற ஒரு மக்களோட வந்து ஒரு 3 மாசம், பிகாஸ் இன் கமர்ஷியல் ஃபிலிம்ல வந்து எனக்கு இந்த ரிஹர்சல் தென் பிராக்டிஸ் அப்புறம் டைரக்டரோட வந்து இன்ட்ராக்ட் பண்ற அந்த டைமிங் எல்லாம் வந்து எனக்கு கிடைக்காது. ஸோ இண்டிபெண்டன்ட் மூவில வந்து எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிச்ச விஷயம் வந்து அது ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். டைரக்டர் தான் வந்து எல்லாமே லைக் எவ்ரி திங் வி கேன் ஷேர் வித் டைரக்டர்ஸ். அண்ட் ஸோ அந்த க்ரூ கூட வந்து ஒரு ஃப்ரெண்ட்லியா நம்மளால வந்து ரொம்ப நாள் வந்து டிராவல் பண்ண முடியும். ஸோ அந்த ஒரு விஷயம், ஆக்டிங் ட்ரைனர்ஸ் இருந்தாங்க. ஸோ அப்படிப்பட்ட சுச்சுவேஷன்ஸ் வந்து என் டைரக்டர் வந்து கிரியேட் பண்ணி கொடுத்தாங்க. ஸோ அதனாலதான் வந்து என்னால ரொம்ப இன்வால்வா பண்ண நினைக்கிறேன். ஸோ தேங்க்யூ டு மை டைரக்டர் அண்ட் சினிமாட்டோகிராஃபர் அபிநந்தனா, ஸோ கோ ஆர்டிஸ்ட் அஜ்மினா, எல்லாருமே வந்து ரொம்ப சப்போர்ட்டிவா இருந்தாங்க. தேங்க்யூ.
I can just go short in translation,
yes.
Maybe not
yes.
the whole thing.
Yes.
I mean, she was pregnant when she was doing a test shoot. She was conceived with Sudhir. She's such a beautiful baby, and both Semilar and Sudhir acted in my film because she was in Semilar's home. So, right. So she was saying like how she didn't tell me about that, but then after I selected her, she had to tell me because like it involves a lot of things. But I said like that is not going to affect the project at all. So let's go ahead. So she was sharing that, And during the test shoot, I mean, I did the whole casting thing in the village. I mean, I was there already, so I actually invited the actors to Babanasam, the village where I was shooting, and she was saying like even before me selecting her, the entire community were friendly with her because they all thought like she's one of them. So she was happy about it. And she was also talking about the process where we all stayed there in Babanasam, and then like we had rehearsals with the community because it's a community participatory film. So we had the entire scenes because it's an independent film done in a very small budget. So we had to rehearse everything. So we went at least 2-3 rehearsals before going for shoot. So she said it gave her a opportunity to learn the community and also interact with the team, with the director, and that is something which is contrast to the commercial, the filmmaking process, where she feels as a part of community of the film crew and the story, the story of the community we are trying to portray. And and she's constantly emotional because there were lots of scenes on sexual violence. I mean, you would have watched it, and she was pregnant, and we were shooting this scenes of sexual violence, and she was thankful to the entire team because she was made to feel safe, and everybody was so protective of her. So she's quite she has this good memories of that, and only because of all the love she could perform well in the violent scenes.
How wonderful. That's really wonderful. And it's so true that if you are in the environment, it almost sort of seeps into your body. And the performance also then includes that. The performance is so much more because of where you are, the people you're with, and which is why it was so touching and so raw. The performance, it was beautiful. And congratulations, Samila. You've done such a lovely job, and I hope that just seeing you might change people's hearts a little bit, and become more generous about and become more keenly aware of injustice in the world and of human rights. I'd like to move to Abhinandan now. That shot of Semilar's character collecting sand only lit by the moving train is absolutely inspired shooting. It is so beautiful, and it just kind of I almost went whoo, I went like that. It was so beautiful. It's amazing that such a heart-wrenching and it's a really ugly reality of our world that you shoot in such a beautiful way, which is to me of the beauty of nature. You're aware of the beauty of people. I mean, Ajmeena is such a lovely girl. It's so beautiful to see a lovely face in the midst of this ugly reality. I would love to talk to you about your process. I mean, it's just wonderful capturing lovely locations like this, and of course, as your director says, it's a small budget film, which makes all the talent really come out. I've been involved in small budget films, so I know what it is like. Tell me about how it was working in this film for you.
Actually, I should call her ma'am because the thing is, Nina ma'am has come to take class, and I've gone running to ask for a chance. And it was
Your voice is breaking, Abhinandan. Your voice is breaking. Can you just maybe adjust your mic or hold your mic closer or something?
I think I'm speaking really fast so that the voice is breaking.
Abhinandan is also the co-producer of the film.
Oh, that's amazing. amazing. That's amazing. That's lovely.
So like Lena had taken filmmaking classes when I was a filmmaking student in Nelvi Prasad. So like know her for a really long time, and I've gone and asked for, when I was a filmmaking student, I've gone and asked for chances to work in her film, and then like, after a decade, she comes back to me and sends me a message and sends a mail that she's doing a film, like immediately on for it, and she's telling like what all process she's already done. Like she's telling that she had spent 2 months with the actors in the location, and they've seen the location. She knows every household in that village, and she like they refer to like the local area where she knows, and I'll be like, okay. So she literally, they had lived there for like 3 months, and I was joining them. So it was a nice process, and after film school, like where you're free and you're like so wild, and you're thinking you're one of the best filmmakers who have come out to make films and all that. But later you realize all that filmmaking, the dream you had in film school is far different from the practical cinematic.
Yes.
But Lena's film had like left you again to like explore your own like the films, the kind of films which you wanted to do when you were in the film school, the films kind of which you loved and you watched and you wanted to get into films. So it was something like Lena had already shot a bit of portion, and she had shown, and the way it was shot, like Jeff Dolan had shot, I think he had shot some 10-15% portion of the film. I've shot some 75% of the portion, and then it just opened my mind. Like it was shot so simple and so effective. Then I thought like I should like it can be so simple and it looked so beautiful. It was communicating. So then I thought I also wanted to try. Like I took it as a challenge to like capture her film as real as possible. So that led me to shoot that train scene with the train light. I think they were asking like, how are you going to shoot? And I said like, there's going to be little light from the train which is going to capture. And the scene was also about shooting it as early in the morning, so that like even before the sun comes out, they have to get back home. I was surprised that there was a community like this out in the world, and I think that was itself so shocking. And I joined the crew a bit late because they had done the pre-production, and then I had joined them. So I was like wondering, okay, maybe this existed and she's making a period story or something. Then they were real life people from the village who are still going through this process, and she had met them, she had spoken to them, and it was like a shock for me. So I was happy to be a part of it, and so it's a good like self-realizing, or that one film which you do, why you started making films. So she was a film like that.
That's wonderful. What a lovely crew you put together, Lena. Because my very dear friend who's my editor, he always says that so you set out to make a film. You go to your location. You want to come back with whatever 1.5 hour, 2 hours of worth of footage. But what about the relationships you come back with? You never accounted for those, and those are for a lifetime. And so like Abhinandan is saying, for him, I mean, this will be such an enriching experience all his life. And like him, I was shocked. I was shocked that there's such a thing, such a community exists that are actually considered unseeable. That you look at, if you're looking at them, will somehow ruin your life. It's such a terrible thing. And Ajmeena, it must be so difficult, Ajmeena, for you to do this role, because throughout she's this free-spirited girl, and she's this lovely girl who in the end, actually towards the end, actually gets into trouble only because she wants to do something good, which is return someone's shirt. And it's such a tragedy what happens to her. But how must have been difficult for you to do this film? Was it difficult? Was it painful emotionally? For you?
Actually, as a girl living, I'm a girl who lives in town and city, so I don't know swimming. I don't know all those stuff. Then when Leena ma'am asked me that whether you know swimming, then I was, oh, yo, I don't know. Then I went for the class.
Okay.
Then 2 weeks I was in swimming class and I studied that. Actually, I like this nature, forest, monkeys, everything. So I was so excited to go there actually when she said. Then um, like it was very good experience with ma'am. She was like a mother for me, like very caring. She told me all the scripts, then stories. It was really wonderful experience with her, and I don't think it was a great pain for me. Like there was lots of risk things when falling from that, hearing the song and falling from the mountain, that hilltop. That scenes were like when she told me that you just jump from there. Okay, then how will I jump from there? Then some kind of energy came to my mind, and I just do it. Then it was a nice scene. Then Abhinand sir told me that you will look beautiful. You will look beautiful in this scene, like that. Then, then I did everything. Then he made me.
You did. You looked very, very beautiful.
Yeah, he made me so beautiful.
Yeah, you have to do.
Yeah, it was a really good experience with ma'am and everyone.
How nice. How nice. That last shot is really haunting, by the way. The end of the film is such a haunting end. In fact, Leena, I wanted to come back to ask you about that. In terms of so there is a society that is treated really harshly, but then there's a kind of a myth making that happens. It would have been great if the story was true, that all the horrible people turned blind and they suffered. But in the world, I only wish that were true, that good people were happy in the end. But what is the significance of making that kind of sort of legend out of a story of suffering, actually?
See, we live in a society where justice system always is failing, and we have all the laws, we have the nation state, we have like entire bureaucracy, but we never get justice. Justice is having innumerable deaths every day, especially in today's India. So that is a reality. And this film is about natural justice. I mean, art is about what we want. I mean, this is a very intense wish of the community, of all of us. I mean, the legends, the folklore, the oral history is what is carrying visual justice over centuries, over generations.
Correct.
So, I mean, that is, for me, that is art. I discovered my art in my oral history, in my ancestors, in the stories of my land. That is where I discover myself, and that is where I also understand who I am and why I came here and what I have to do. So I constantly want to go back there. Like, I have done like a dozen documentaries. I have done a docufiction, like a feature. So all these are, I mean, my way of understanding the society I am born and grow up, grew up with. So I always work with the community, and this is I mean, this film is my solidarity to that people. I don't know if we can change things all of a sudden. Change is a long, protracted process, but I think, and we just further it in by like 1 inch or like a bit. That is what, like, we are shaking it so that, like, we people will hear it, will watch it, and people will think about it. Like, this is what we want to happen with the kind of work we do. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
why like when I was doing my Brekkie, I did very long interviews with the communities. We can actually make a long documentary with those material. So when I was doing it, like, they were constantly referring their, ancestors as gods and goddesses. So, Madati is such an archetype, for that community. And I want to give my version of Madati. This is not something which is already existing. I mean, there were lots of versions. Like we have like 3,000 versions of Ramayana, and like that, like these legends and folklore and oral history. Also, they have like multiple versions. So
Yes.
I wanted to give my version, and this is Madati, which I created, and this is what I wanted to happen to the society. And
Yes.
I just like it. It is something. What to say? I mean, I just want this to um, uh, tell the world that this is happening, and this is still happening, and what
Yes.
are we trying to do? Like,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, that's
No, absolutely. And for women especially, it's a river that has been flowing in one direction for centuries. And to swim against that tide, of course, it's going to be a really big struggle. It's going to be a huge effort that will bring about equality. I mean, and I personally think that that if one is not using one's craft and one's art to speak about human rights and to speak about social injustice, then it's a practical waste of that time and that energy and that art that you created. So for me, what you have done is the highest in my books, and I think that's an amazing thing, because like you said, whether one person changes or many do, it's going to be a slow process. And over time, I hope many people watch your film, and love Abhinandan's work and love Semala's work and Ajmina's work. And actually, the thing is that the trick is to make them fall in love with something. And because if you fall in love with something, you can't muster up the hatred in your heart, then and then you're forced to kind of just feel like this is not right, this isn't what should be happening. And there starts the change slowly. I dream of that kind of thing. So I'm so happy that you made it and you got your beautiful crew together. What do you hope in terms of what about your future projects? Will they basically also center around women largely and justice?
Before getting into it, I also wanted to like add something on Ajmina, Semilar, and Abhinandan.
Yes.
As a team, we were constantly trying to become one with the nature there, with the forest, with the river, with the community. For me, that was my aspiration. I mean, the aspiration of the team to become one and to get as much harmony as possible. I think that is what we were aspiring, and the dedication of Semilar and Ajmina and Abhinandan and the entire team. Like we were constantly trying to become one with them. Maybe we are not getting there, but we tried, and I think that process is Madati, and
yes.
that is what I also want to achieve through art. Like trying to harmonize with. I mean, there is conflicts, there are problems, there are issues. There is also love, there is also empathy. Like constantly becoming one with the universe. I think.
Yes.
That is what Madati is all about. And about my future projects, like I have, social justice has been my forte. I mean, through my documentary shorts and features or whatever I do, like it is just like I keep wandering, and if something provokes me, then as you said, like I fall in love with them with that idea, with that with that connection I get with a particular subject or a story, or like, it has to completely, every film has changed me, the process, the making, and the reaching out. I think I've learned my life through this process, not from the university or from the school system or whatever, like, but living with the communities and telling their stories along with them, and that is what that is the journey I'm committed to. I think I have few things on the table. I don't know. I mean, we all, very well, like we all have like 4 5 things on the table, and we don't know which will, which, but it is definitely, I think it'll be definitely something which has, driven my heart mad. So
yes,
so,
because in your madness will lie everybody else's sort of drive and motivation, and people would love to to join you on your journey of madness, and have it all, because it's a beautiful thought what you say, to harmonize. The filmmaking process itself is a process of attempt to harmonizing with nature, with our best ideals in some way, with equality. So if this isn't reason enough to make movies, I don't know what is. So I think that's it's great. And so I wish you guys all the best always. And now there will be lots of audience questions, because they have just been through this gut wrenching experience of watching this film. So I will let Siddhi take over and have you reply to the audience.
Thank you, Tanuja. It was wonderful having you on board, and like I loved having this conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Great conversation, guys. Tanuja, you as usual are fantastic, and from the team also, what fantastic answers. As Tanuja mentioned, we do have some phenomenal questions from the audience, lots and lots of them. Some of the questions might be repetition of what we've already spoken about. So maybe when I ask that questions, you can go a little deeper into that. So let's dive in with the first question. So many questions. My list is very long right now. So Roshni asks, Leena, this is for you. What prompted you to tell this story based on this particular community? Do you have any personal experiences that prompted it?
I think I already had a long discussion about it. This is a community which is totally invisibilized, and even people living in this land do not know about them, because they're completely, because even seeing them is considered a curse, considered a sin. People will go back home and take a bath like the moment they come across, and even when they happen to see them, like the blame is on them. Why did you come out on my way? This is how these people are treated. The Pudraivannar, the washman community who washed for Dalits, are still treated. Believe me, trust me, are still treated the same way. The caste system is cruelly letting this practice go on, and this film is. I just wanted to make this film to burn the question more. I mean, the question, has to burn more. That was the objective for making this.
Yeah, what a wonderful answer, Leena. Thank you for expanding on that. Roshni also has a follow-up question. The film seems to have an element of horror attached to it. Was that something you planned? I know you mentioned about, natural justice, but do you want to expand on this?
Actually, I'm also born under the slopes of Western Ghats, and this region is very close to my native place. I'm not born in Chennai. I'm born in a small village close to this place, like, under the slopes of Western Ghats. Chadragiri is what they say. And Western Ghats, like, it's just wherever you go, stand in the middle of forest. I mean, there is a beauty to it. There is also a mystery to it. And I just wanted to translate that mystery of Western Ghats. You're there, you're in the middle of the forest, and the sound you hear, the air you feel, and it's all a lot of mystery in that. And Siddhas, the anarchist poets are from there. Like they are the ones who are like anarchist poets from our history. They are from this Western Ghats. And Siddhar literature, Siddhars are the basis of Tamil medicine also, system of Tamil medicine. They were the one who wrote the medicine. So they are the ones who are the origin of the medical knowledge, the knowledge of ancestry, and they live in the wild and they don't get domesticated. So as a poet, as a published poet, I have published like 5 collections of poetry. I'm so influenced by Siddhar poetry, and it is all about the mystery of Western Ghats. And when you get into the history of Pudurai Vannas, all you hear is very close to mythology. So I wanted it to be a cinema legend. I mean, you're transcending a legend, a folkloric cinema like Kurosawa, like Ritwik Ghatak. I mean, they all, they constantly went back to the stories of our land. I think, I follow them, and that's how horror. Yes, it can be like many people have categorized it as social horror. Yes, of course, we are living in the most horrific times, so the
Yes.
film reflects it. Yeah.
Yes. I'd like to just come in here for 1 second. There's a beautiful line, Leena, in the film, which says that that the river is witness to so many injustices, and yet it flows on. That was a stunning line in the film, and that's part of the horror, I guess.
I think I will dedicate this line to the writer. The screenplay is written by Rafiq, by Avnika and myself, and also with a community of inputs. And this particular line was written by Rafiq Ismail. So I like, the credit goes to him.
Sure.
That's a very good segue that you have given me into the next question, Tanuja. Thank you. There are 2 audience members who are talking about the symbolism of water. One is Deepak and one is Napoleon from Singapore. They're asking, dear Leena, thank you so much for the wonderful movie. In this movie, especially water and nature, they play such an important role. What is the importance of this symbolism to you?
No, as washerman community, they like wake up in water, they sleep in water, they live in water. So water was like, the fabric of their life. Yeah. I just wanted to bring that fabric, and water is a silent witness to everything around, like, Yeah. There is a shot where the character Veni, played by Sam Miller, she was washing the menstrual clothes, and the river was turning blood. And I think the river, the water is a witness throughout the film, on everything, on the first infatuation the girl gets, the girl's desire, their agony, their sorrow, their rage, everything is connected to water. So I just wanted to bring that into the film. Like, I think that was the motive. Yeah.
So my next question is from Ketki. In one scene, Asmina's character sees him swimming under the waterfall. She is attracted to him, and as an audience, so are we. And this very attractive male body violates Yosana's body. Leena, this was heartbreaking. How did you write this waterfall scene?
No, I wanted to bring that primal moment where beyond everything, like a female, I also wanted to have this female gaze on desire, like, when you first have a glimpse of a male body full nude, the hormones are rushing and you're attracted, and the films don't show this, like, I really wanted to have that primal moment. For me, like, that is the basis for the entire human life. Like that lust has a lot of energy and that desire, and constantly the institutions, caste, religion, family, society, state, laws, everything is uh, you know um, everything is trying to curtail female desire. I mean, for me, every text written or every institution made by man is about controlling the desire of woman. I mean, this film can also be seen how female desire, is taking the whole thing to a. I mean, female desire is always ends in disaster in the society. So, how it leads to a disaster. So it's also about. I mean, we also. I mean, it's human-made disaster. The end of the film is like the disaster made by the humans. Like it rains, it floods, and it's there in the legend, but it is also. So I mean, even the folklore, even the poetry we read, it is about like women's desire have to be controlled. This is what the text constantly say. So I wanted to give my take on it, and that particular moment in the film is is the question I put to the world on the female desire. Yeah.
So that's so wonderfully said that, female desire always ends in, disaster. And like and you also mentioned earlier in the question and answer that, we are living in the most horrific times. So given that, Arshad asked, how is your film being received by Indian audiences?
I mean, thanks to Kosaf, I have I was having the audience. I was craving for so many months because like indies, like we are Kuduraivannar community. We are totally civilized indies, like, and that too, like when you do artist work and like you're completely, and when you handle subjects like this, that market doesn't care. Even the OTTs or even the new media, like everything is commercialized, and we just don't have any space. Like I mean, when I was doing Sengadal, I was feeling I am a fisherman. When I was doing this the fisherman in the Indo-Sri Lankan border shore, where you don't know you will be alive the next day. So that's the film is all about, my earlier film. But this film, I was also feeling I'm a Puduraivannar, because like I'm totally invisibilized here. So I'm only hoping, I mean, it is still on the festival journey. And like thanks to pandemic, the film was also quarantined with me. So it's just for not weeks, but like for months together. But now with Kosaf, like, the film has reached, the audience it deserves. I mean, when the world is falling apart, I can't be bragging like, oh, there is no audience to my film is not seen. Like, I feel embarrassed to do that. But still, like, I really wish the film to yearn the audience it deserves. And film is just not about the film crew or the subject or the crew. It's also about the audience. I always say in all my interviews that the film is incomplete without audience. The film gets complete. Every film gets complete with the audience. So I really wish I get a release, or like I get a OTT digital release or whatever, so that like it really gets seen by people. And I think the film deserves it.
I absolutely agree. The film deserves as many views as possible. Like everywhere, everyone needs to watch this film. Our next question is from Rajam. He asked, what is the dialect spoken in the movie, and which region of Tamil Nadu is the story set in?
It's Tirunelveli district. It is near Papanasam. Dr. Ambedkar has spoken about this community like, 70 years ago in his volume 5, about how these people are part of slavery that has been, that is what the caste system is all about. So, but unfortunately, the oppressive system still continues. So, Tirunelveli district, I mean, Puduraivannar community, they live across Tamil Nadu, and there is this community in Kerala and in other states also, but they are, I think, they are called differently. And this particular community, they wash for Dalits. There are other washmen community who wash for other communities, and they come from they are backward. I mean, they come under backward caste. I mean, if you know the reservation policy here and how scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and they come under that. But Pudrai Varnas are Dalits within Dalits because they work for Dalits. So that's how the whole caste system works. No, it always keeps somebody higher and it always keeps somebody lower, and it never makes humanity. It is the equality. Caste system is something which is constantly hitting at the equality that the humanity feels. So I mean, yes, and they speak Tamil, and it's a Dalit dialect. I mean, the Tirunelveli dialect itself is different, and within that, it is a subaltern Dalit Tamil that they speak. And during the whole rehearsals, and I mean, the dialogues was written by Rafiq, who is also from the same place. He lives very close by. But we got inputs from the community. So whatever we wrote when we were rehearsing the scene, we constantly rewrote according to, like, the lines are there, but still we took the inputs, and we constantly took the inputs of the community, and we improvised on the dialogues on the set to just be close to the and it is live recorded sound. It's not dubbed. So I mean, there are only few actors who have acted, but rest of the whole cast is community. So we didn't have the problem of language because they were like naturally speaking, but with the actors, we made them rehearse the language.
You said it. So, like, it's such a powerful statement that you just made, that, that's how the caste system works, that there's always someone above and there's always someone below. And something similar to that, one of our audience members asked, does the women running away after hearing unfairy tale symbolizes the audiences who stay away from speaking out?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, the whole, the cinema, what to say, you have the crew, you have the community, you have the story, you have the audience. So whatever you do, it resonates. It's a system. What do you say? I'm not getting that word. So that's the ecosystem. Yeah, ecosystem. And yes, audience definitely. Community has a gaze on the film crew. The film crew has a gaze on the community, and the audience has a gaze on, like, the end. So the gaze is like, it's just a part of the ecosystem. So yes, of course, like it is also asking audience, like, why aren't you doing anything? Do something. No. Yeah. Question.
It's unfortunate. Sorry, there is fire brigade going from here. So the next question comes that there is no mention of time in the film. Is it a period film? Sorry, I'm ignorant. Is this still in practice? This is so unfair. I cannot control my feelings.
No, it is very much story of this present. It is very much the story of the present. It is also very much the story of the past. And we all wish that this should not be a story of the future. So this whole timelessness, I just wanted to have in the film. I didn't want to mention the name of the village or this. Like, I mean, the community was mentioned as Thinda Vannar. Thinda Vannar is like untouchable washerman community, but nowhere nothing was mentioned because when you see, there was a king. In the folklore, nobody says that, nobody mentions the date. When your grandmother tells your story, like, once upon a time, and this follows that pattern where you don't have a date, a particular time, and all that. The timelessness is consciously maintained, but it is very much a story of the present. It was framed because it is the young couple. They go to a hut which is non-existing, and then the spirit of Madati, that small boy, is narrating the whole story, and you see that husband guy in the painting, in the last shot, like he enters the painting. That means, like, that also means that the caste system is not the thing of the past. It is still there, and the man entering the painting is that's how I wanted to say, like, this is the story of the present.
Yeah. So that you all with that statement you answered my next question. So I'm going to move on. That was Mahesh's question about why the husband is in the drawing. So I'm going to move on to Zai's question. They say, I cannot help but notice the proximity between Yosana and animals. How did you show such a wonderful intimacy between Yosana and the animals? I'd love for Leena and Ajmeena to answer both of them, both their perspectives.
Ajmeena, you want to respond?
No, you just tell it. That's it.
Yeah, Ajmeena, like, was very friendly with the animals, the birds, and that wildness in her was really helping in the film. But beyond that, I also wanted to add, like, when we talk about mythology, mystery, and all that, like, few scenes that were written on the writing stage that happened as if, like, actually for that monkey scene, I had like booked a trained monkey and all, but that just happened naturally, and the crew was eating breakfast, and there were like all these monkeys coming to the shoot. And like we were feeding them, we can't feed monkeys take it from us. So I thought, I should use this moment and immediately ask my team to bring the pomegranates, and then we immediately staged that scene, which was not planned on that day. So the monkeys visited the set and became voluntarily actors in the film. So when I wrote the film, many scenes, it is also something was amazing that whatever I wrote was happening when we were shooting. It was happening naturally. Like the last scene where the family is leaving the village. That rain was a natural rain, and Abhinandan braved it, and he shot the whole thing. Like the crew was shooting. We didn't have the protective gear and all, but like we just went ahead and shot it. And when they were walking, and there was thunder, and it was written in paper, but it was happening actually. So, I come from a self-respect movement. I read Periyar, and I'm a rationalist and all that. But, when you make films like this, you also feel like there is something beyond all the rational, So, yeah, I still don't want to say that I'm a believer. Certain things happen beyond your reason, and I think, like, really, is God true? No, God is not true, but there is something beyond our thing, like, So there were lots of moments in the film that made me believe that there is some power beyond my reasoning, beyond my rational. So I felt it in this animals, this rain, and all that was a gift of nature for us. Like, and also, like, you, in the whole process of filmmaking, I only became more humble because you might plan many things, but if you go to the set, if the sun is not shining, you are not there. Your shooting is going to, get cancelled. You're not going to get that shot. So you're constantly at the mercy of nature, at the mercy of, humanity around, at the mercy of love around. So, you become more and more humble, like, in the process. So that's that's what and nature has been very kind to us the whole film.
So that is very beautifully said. Abhinandan, did you feel nature was kind to you? Because our next question is for you. Napoleon asked, congrats on the great work. Are majority of the scenes shot in natural light?
Yeah. In any shot which you see, there is no light on the frame, or there's no electricity is not used any artificial light. We've shot with natural light. Yeah. I mean, the same way I just wanted to add a few things to the previous question, where when you want to do something from your heart, it automatically happens in a way that whatever you wish for happens. So there are film sets where I used to say, people used to think, where they say it might rain today, or like, if you want it to rain, it'll rain, or if you really don't want it to rain, it won't rain. So I've felt that connect, and whenever I do something from like when you connect to something and you want that thing to happen, it happens. So yeah, it was we had a lot of magical moments through it. Like the whole film was a magic. So yeah.
Thank you for that. I'm also getting cues that it's time for us to wrap up. So we'll unstick like maybe one or two more questions. So audience members, if your questions weren't asked, I'm really sorry. We're running out of time. Question for Leena. Where can I watch Senkadal? I don't know if I said that right. Sorry.
Senkadal hasn't found a home. It was banned initially. This film also faced a lot of censorship issues. It wasn't certified initially by the CBFC in the regional board. So I had to apply, and I fought for it in the appellate tribunal. And then, we came out without a single cut. No audio cut, no video cut.
Now you can release an online DVD version. Now people will be ready to buy it.
Sorry?
I think Leena has to release all her film in like video on demand, and then people are going to buy that DVD or like.
Yeah. So the Senkadal also was banned, and I got the clearance from the tribunal, and both the films are completely uncensored. That is one thing which I'm very proud about. But Senkadal couldn't be released here because it's very, politically, it's about Sri Lankan issue, and we are still not in a situation to talk openly or tell their stories, and there's a lot of political games around it. So I actually did a world tour crowdfunding screenings. Like I did 100 screenings across the continents, like 6 months on the road trip across the world showing the film. So that's how Senkadal was shown. It was shown in the festivals, galleries, museums, to the community, to the and it had also like a very singled out theatrical release, like in Canada, in Norway. Like we hired theaters, and group of artists will show it in a small theater in their community. So that's how Senkadal was distributed. So maybe I have to see if any OTT is interested, but I'm not sure. But yes, Senkadal is not yet available for the public viewing. I will try and find a home for Senkadal. Yeah. So far, it's only festivals and independent community screenings.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to wrap up with this last question. Jay Kishore asks, how much of social emancipation, access to education, etc., has reached this community? Dalits as both oppressed and the oppressor is a stark reality. This is a great film.
Pudrivanar community is still, the change is so slow, and the whole film, I got access to the community through the person. He's a great person. He's called Cricket Murthy. Murthy Ayya is the first generation graduate from the community. He's a retired Tahsildar. He really fought for it, because this is a community who is still having difficulties even getting a caste certificate. There is a lot of issues with, the socio-political civil issues that the community is facing, because the caste system wants to keep them in place. And the education, yes, Moti Ayya's, both the sons are now educated, and I definitely know the generations to come will be educated. But to even come there, like Moti Ayya's own brother is still a Pudraivan, I mean, still doing the traditional work. So even if they get educated, they are forced to do the traditional jobs to be allowed to live in that place. So that's how it works, and they are still in the margins of the margins, and there's a long way to go. And I think we all have, even during the COVID relief, I was constantly reaching out to the community, because nobody knows that these people live. Even the state bureaucracy, even the public health system, they don't even know that these communities live. They live in the bushes, and like we had to push the officials to find them, to reach out the help and all that. So education and all, I mean, I'm doing my bit, but like me doing my bit is very little. I think we all have to come together and see what we can do for the community's advancement.
Yeah. Leena, thank you so much for your film, for all the work that you're doing. Like, it's so important that every human is seen and everyone should be treated equally. So thank you so much. Unfortunately, we are out of time, so we have to wrap up. Thank you, Team Madati. Thank you, Leena. Thank you, Abhinandan. Thank you, Ajmeena. Thank you, Similar. And thank you so much to your moderator, Tanuja. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tanuja. Thank you, Kosa.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank
it
you.
was lovely.
Yeah. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for a lovely conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us again. As I mentioned, this was so important and so inspirational, to say the least.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. With that, we're gonna wrap up the Q&A for Madati. Have a great evening. Have a great day wherever you are situated in the globe. Please join us for the next 10 days. We have some fantastic panels and films lined up. So see you at COSAF. Bye, everyone.